What really happened when Meghan Markle and Prince Harry showed up at Kris Jenner's birthday celebration? Why did party photos appear on Instagram and then disappear? And what do we actually know versus what the internet decided in the hours that followed? Tonight we take a breath, lay out the verified details, and separate signal from noise. Welcome to Royally Misrepresented, your calm space for context and facts. In this episode, we look at the story around Kris Jenner's 70th birthday gathering in Beverly Hills and the short life of a few photos that featured Meghan and Harry. We will walk the timeline, note what has been confirmed, flag what remains unverified, and consider the stakes when public figures move through events where entertainment, image, and remembrance collide. Why give this more than a glance? Because moments like this show how quickly a minor detail becomes a full narrative. They test media literacy. They influence how people judge motives and character. They can also eclipse real work the couple did that same evening for a children's charity, and they can strain relationships across entertainment and public life. When the internet fills gaps with speculation, clear facts and careful framing are not a luxury. They are the only way to keep a shared reality. Part 1. The timeline we can verify. On Saturday, November 8th, Meghan and Harry attended the Baby 2 Baby Gala in West Hollywood, where Serena Williams was honoured. Harry wore a remembrance poppy on his lapel. Later that same night, they appeared at Kris Jenner's birthday celebration at the Beverly Hills home of Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez. The event had a James Bond theme and drew a long list of recognizable names. They are documented by reputable outlets that covered both events. At some point after the party, a few photos that included Meghan and Harry appeared on the Instagram accounts of Kris Jenner and Kim Kardashian. Shortly after, those images were removed while other party photos remained. This sequence is also well documented by multiple outlets that archived the posts before removal and then reported the deletion. Part 2. What people wore and why it became a talking point. What people wore and why it became a talking point. Meghan wore a sleek black look that reads formal on camera and fits a James Bond theme. Harry changed into a tuxedo jacket for the party after the gala. The visual that many seized on was the contrast between Harry's remembrance poppy and Meghan's lack of a visible poppy at the celebration. Some commentary framed this as a slight during a weekend with remembrance events in the United Kingdom. Others noted that Harry had already taken part in remembrance activity, and that availability and norms around the poppy in the United States are different. The key here is to observe how a simple styling choice became a proxy for morality once the images circulated. The facts on this point remain that Harry wore a poppy that evening, Meghan did not display one at the party, and public reaction split along lines that often predate any photo. Part 3. The removed photos and the conflicting explanations. Why did Kris and Kim's posts that included the couple come down? Here, the record contains competing accounts. People magazine reported that the images were removed after questions around consent for photo sharing. One side suggested the couple had not given permission for their images to be posted. Another source disputed that consent forms existed at all. Other coverage floated the idea that sensitivity around remembrance optics played a part. What matters for us is to be precise. We can verify that the posts went up, that they were taken down, and that sources offered conflicting reasons. We cannot verify a single definitive cause, because the parties involved have not offered an on-the-record explanation. That uncertainty is part of the story. Part 4. The rumour machine and how it filled the gap. Once the images vanished, speculation surged. Some voices tried to reverse engineer motive from the timing. Others pushed unrelated theories, including pregnancy, that had no credible sourcing and relied on zooming into fabric folds. This is a textbook example of a familiar pattern. A vacuum invites confident claims that stand on very little. In our view, the honest position is simple. We do not know why the photos came down. We know that public curiosity and past narratives about control and privacy made the moment ripe for projection. That is not evidence. It is psychology. Part 5. The wider context that got lost. It is also true that the same evening began at a benefit for families in need, an organisation that raised significant funds and honoured a long-time friend of the couple. That context matters because it shows the night was not only celebrity mingling. It included public service and philanthropy that are consistent with the couple's stated interests. When coverage erases that first event to focus on a later party and a vanished image, we lose the fuller picture. Part 6. Optics, Relationships, and the Hollywood Reality. There is a real conversation to be had about optics. Moving from a charity gala to a high-profile birthday during a remembrance weekend was always going to invite comparison. Add the Kardashian and Jenner reach on social platforms, and you have a multiplier effect. If the couple hoped to avoid being content in someone else's narrative, that is difficult at a celebration where images are the currency. Yet networking and visibility are also part of the reality of building and maintaining projects in the entertainment and media world they now inhabit. These are competing demands that do not always align. Observers who argue that this is a balance problem are pointing to a genuine tension. Others will say it is simply how Los Angeles functions, and that the internet shows outrage over proportion. Both statements can hold some truth at once. Page 6. Part 7. A reasonable reading of the night. So what is the most reasonable reading with what we know? The couple supported a charity gala early in the evening. Later, they attended a birthday celebration with a film-themed dress code at a private home. A few photos that included them appeared on social media and were then removed. Outlets offered different explanations. No official explanation has been given. Online reaction splintered into praise, criticism, and conspiracy, much of it driven by pre-existing views. The cleaner view is not dramatic. It is that a minor social media correction at a large, star-filled party became content, and that the surrounding noise says more about the incentives of our attention economy than it does about the people in the image. Part 8. What to watch going forward. 2 things are worth watching after the dust settles. First, whether any of this affects the couple's ongoing relationships in the entertainment community. Second, whether we see a different approach to event photography around remembrance dates in the future. Those are practical questions that sit beneath the headlines and will be more revealing than a comment thread. If this helped you step back from the swirl, support the work. Subscribe for steady coverage that respects facts. Share this with someone who only saw the rumour cycle, and add your view below, especially if you attended similar events or work in digital communications. Tell us what you think is the most sensible best practice when public service, entertainment, and remembrance overlap. This is Royally Misrepresented. We check the receipts, slow the pace, and leave room for thought. Thank you for watching and for choosing clarity over heat. Until next time.